Dan and Dave on the mic tonight, talking truths under city lights. Conspiracies in the dark they find, fake news twisted, gotta unwind. Politics got us going mad, world gone crazy but we ain't sad. System broken but we're still bad, laughing loud at the lies they had. Smarts in KC tearing it down, voices loud all over town. Truth and chaos all around, in the system where it's going down. Hidden secrets they expose, truth or lie nobody knows. In the shadows the story grows, bringing heat with every show. From the depths to the top we climb, every twist just feels so prime. Reality like a twisted rhyme, unveil the truths like a perfect crime. Dark and gritty, it's all we see. Tangled tales set us free. Laugh it up with irony, in the depths of conspiracy. Dan and Dave on the mic tonight, talking truths on the city lights. Conspiracies in the dark they find, fake news twisted, gotta unwind. Smarts in KC tearing it down, voices loud all over town. Truth and chaos all around, in the system where it's going down. In the system where it's going down. And secrets they expose, truth or lie nobody knows. In the shadows the story grows, bringing heat with every steps to the top we climb. Every twist just feels so prime. Reality like a twisted rhyme, unveil the truths like a perfect crime. Dark and gritty, it's all we see. Tangled tales set us free. Laugh it up with irony, in the depths of conspiracy. Dan and Dave on the mic tonight, talking truths in the city lights. Conspiracies in the dark they find, fake news twisted, gotta unwind.
Dan and Dave on the air tonight, whispering tales by media's play. Fake news ripping through the town. Stand tall, cause the system is down. Conspiracies float on the breeze, talk of shadows and secret pleas. Their voices roar like rugged ground. With every breath, the system is down. The truth they seek, the lies they find, unraveling webs that twist the mind. In every whisper, every sound, together they shout, the system is down. In a world painted in grayscale, they tell of wolves beneath the veil. With minds sharp and sights untamed, hold fast, cause the system's named. Politics dances in the dark, with every spin they strike a spark. A crooked game on crooked ground, holding tight as the system is down. The truth they seek, the lies they find, unraveling webs that twist the mind. In every whisper, every sound, together they shout, the system is down.
we unite, we are unstoppable.
We are in the middle of a war in this country. It is between those of us who love this country and a fringe minority who hates the United States of America.
I will join with anyone to do good, but with no one to do bad.
Can you think of any time in history that the people who were censoring were the good guys?
We need each other to survive.
Paid for by the Libertarian Unity Pack.
All I ask is, if we have to give these bastards our lives, we give them hell before we do!
The tragedy of our day is the climate of fear in which we live.
Talking about the Salomon Brothers building collapsing.
But ask the congressman to withdraw that comment and tell us that he didn't really mean that. I don't know what I said. I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
The Bible commands that certain people be put to death.
These were possessing weapons of mass destruction. 9/11 attacks were carried out by Al Qaeda.
Handle the truth.
I remember that with that smoke! We are still here!
We have to say yes to socialism.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
Okie dokie. Ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, welcome to The System is Down. I'm joined by Dave, as always. Dave from Delaware. How are you, Dave?
What it is? I'm doing great, bro. Jazzed up today. Love the early stuff. Got my cup of coffee here.
I normally love the early stuff, as you know. Today is an exception for I feel like shit today, Dave, because I got a grand total of 3.5 hours of sleep last night.
Tell me why you only got 3 hours. Were you working very hard on something?
I'm tired, Dave. I'm tired of bullshit. I'm tired of dog shit. I'm tired of all the shits. My dogs, the last 2 mornings have one of the 2 dogs. So 2 dogs sleep together, same kennel. They both have a kennel, but they like to sleep together. But once they sleep together, no matter who's doing the shitting, they all share in the shit storm that is to come. So yesterday morning at like 5:30, I got up and took out the kennel and the dog covered in shit and gave the dog a bath. And then we went to church, Dave, because we're good Christian conservative Republicans around here. And then after, in the afternoon, we got back and the dog had been let out during the day, and the dog had still shit in her kennel again yesterday afternoon. And then this morning at 5 o'clock or 5:30, somewhere in there, time is meaningless at this point, but at like clockwork, she shat in her kennel again, which is currently sitting outside. So, Dave, I am tired of dog shit. I am tired of bullshit. I'm tired of all this stuff. I'm even getting to the point where I'm like, okay, let's wrap this up. Like, I'm one of the few people who's like, let's stretch out this election cycle. Let's keep this going because I enjoy it. I have some sort of sick fetish for it or something. But, yeah, even I'm getting to the point where it's like, all right, guys, let's move along. Anyway.
So, a beautiful night of cleaning up feces repeatedly.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. All right. Have you ever thought about getting rid of one of those dogs? Maybe you got one too many dogs?
No, Dave.
I love them
dearly.
All you got to do is just put it back in the shopping cart on the website. You got it. Hit return, and they'll come. They'll get
you just
that dog.
box it up and slap the label on it, and Amazon will take it right back.
It's no big deal. And just real quick, shout out to Alex Schlegel, who's in the comments. I'm using the old trusty Libertarian Party of Maryland coffee cup that we got when we were hanging out with those guys. So shout out to him and those dudes.
We've already got, oh, wait, no, it's not a fake super chat. It's Fakertarians. Fakertarians definitely has CIA asset vibes. I literally thought that was a fake super chat, and I'm very tired. So bear with me. We're going to talk about shit still because there's plenty of shit to talk about. Libertarians are going to be brought up more than they deserve today, but not as much as they deserve at the same time somehow. Before we get to any of that, that, Donald Trump going on all the things, doing all the things, and Kamala Harris being a fucking idiot, let me remind you of my favorite sponsor, which is you guys in the Downers Club. John Winshower, Bob Seifert, Drugs for Robots, Autumn Jacobs, Vangias, John Van Beaverhout, No Tread, Trashman, Meredith, Maxwell, Zinger Tattoo, JC Justin, Savoy, Perry Nord, Adam Choit, Leah Ann, Danielle, Stoney, Keith Compson, STG, Level Zero, Hefflump, Swizzles, Craig DaCosta, Tim Brown, Howie Snowden. Dave, you said there's a... I'm not seeing him. I'm not seeing him in here. All right? I'm going to mute you.
Don't.
Where's he at?
Keep going. Down the bottom.
Down.
Kojima made me gay. Yep,
Kojima made me gay. Hey, shout out to whoever you are. And there you go. Yes. If you want to get your name on that list and have it read incorrectly someday, go on over to patreon.com/The System Is Down and sign up for the Downers Club, where you will not only support the show, but you'll get more weird, more raw, more offensive, more weekly content. Generally weekly. We're not doing one today on reasons that I am very tired, and there is nothing that I want to talk about in the after party. But this might not be the last thing that we do this week, so go join, and you can also find out why last week we questioned whether or not Dave Smith was endorsing Kamala Harris, and the week before that, we questioned whether or not Ian Carroll was a Fed. So if you want to get all those fun things and all the backlog, go on over to patreon.com/The System Is Down today and stuff. All right, we're back. All right, Dave, last week we did a show, like, what was it, Thursday? Wednesday? Something like that?
Yeah, Wednesday, I think.
Yeah. So it's only been just a little over half a week, and last time I was like, there's not a ton to talk about. It's been a fairly slow news cycle. And then in the next, 3 days, Donald Trump went on Joe Rogan and outshadowed himself by going and playing Madison Square Garden the next night with everybody and his brother there. But, lots has been going on. I do want to start with this. So Kamala Harris did a town hall. We're not going to, I want to spend an hour talking about each one of these things individually, but we're not going to. We don't have time to. And also, who gives a shit? Kamala Harris has done a bunch of interviews that were all train wrecks. Donald Trump has done a bunch of interviews that were Donald Trump on cool shows. I wouldn't say they're mind-blowingly amazing interviews or anything, but it's Donald Trump being a human, very humanizing on the Joe Rogan show. But on Kamala Harris's town hall that everybody was talking about a couple days ago, which feels like an eternity ago, she had a whole lot of Kamala word salad, and there was one in particular that I wanted to share because it contrasts well with something that Donald Trump said on the Joe Rogan show. But here's Kamala Harris being asked what her weaknesses are.
Is there something you can point to in your life, political life, or in your life in the last 4 years that you think is a mistake that you have learned from?
I mean, I've made many mistakes, and they range from, if you've ever parented a child, you make a lot.
She hasn't, by the way. She has not parented a child. Her stepchildren were adults when they came to her.
Some mistakes, too. In my role as vice president, I mean, I've probably worked very hard at making sure that I am well versed on issues, and I think that is very important. It's a mistake not to be well versed on an issue and feel compelled to answer a question.
Impressive. When you're in that kind of situation, in order to have such quick-witted answers,
you need
that's a better clip, but
you need to shut the fuck up.
I was going for something. Here it is.
You got to be able to pew.
Yeah, I'm off my game today. It's all right. But basically her answer was when asked what were some mistakes that you made while in office, her answer was, well, people know about mistakes. You've seen mistakes before. Parenting is a mistake. You know that by my abortion bill. Parenting is a mistake, and also it would be a mistake she basically said, it's a mistake to go into any question that you don't know the answer to, which was the end of her answer to a question that she didn't know the answer to. And the fact that you can't, I know it's kind of a stupid question, because who wants to answer what was your biggest failure in life? I don't know. Nobody wants to say that. Call her out on her many failures, because we know that there are many. But her answer is basically, my biggest failure so far is doing this interview, because I don't know the answer to that question. You could have literally said anything. Like, it could have been, I don't know, I don't know, Afghanistan? Like, you could give at least a wink and a nod to the fact that you fucked that up real good.
Right.
Any thoughts, Dave?
I shouldn't have called Joe Biden a furious racist when I debated him on the stage.
Right before becoming his running mate, yeah.
Yeah, I figure I owe him one for that one, but that was a mistake, I guess.
Yeah. And how do you, like, of all the nothing burger questions to be asked to not be able to answer, to come up with something? Like, it just says that you're not a good politician, because any good politician can come up with an answer to the question of, have you ever done something that wasn't amazing?
She obviously doesn't know how to pew. That's the thing. She doesn't know how to do that. You got to be able to pew, and she can't.
Do you know who does? Do you know who does know how to pew, Dave?
Who dat?
Well, here's Donald Trump being asked basically the same, or answering basically the same question on Joe Rogan a couple days later.
The biggest mistake I made was I picked some people. I picked some great people, but you don't think about that. I picked some people that I shouldn't have picked. I picked a few people that I shouldn't have picked. And
neocons?
Yeah, neocons, or bad people, or disloyal people, or
people that were just
people
bad.
that were into the
You
people
got bad
that,
advice.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're reading about them a little bit today. A guy like Kelly, who was a bully, but a weak person. You know more about bullies than anybody probably around, because you deal in a certain sport where the bullies are exposed very quickly.
Yeah.
But he's bad. Bolton was an idiot, but he was great for me, because I'd go in with a guy like a John Bolton. You know John Bolton. A friend of mine called me up. I was picking Bolton, and he's a very smart guy. His name is Phil Ruffin. He's a very rich guy from Las Vegas. He's a great card player. He doesn't play cards, but he's a great player. He's just a natural. Got poker sense, right? The good old poker sense. And Phil Ruffin is a very, very wise kind of a guy, and one of the richest people around.
He's weaving. He's off on his tangent.
Great success, and
He'll be back,
understands people. So it was in that I was picking Bolton, or I picked Bolton. He called up. He said, "Don't pick him. Why? He's a bad guy." Now, he wasn't in politics at all. He's in various businesses. He said, "He's a bad guy. He's just, it always works out bad with that guy." I said, "Oh, man, I wish you told me this 2 weeks ago. I already hired him. He's here." And he was right. But he was good in a certain way. He's a nut job. And every time I had to deal with a country, when they saw this,
basically what he's saying is John Bolton is Donald Trump's Donald Trump. He's the guy that everybody is afraid is going to blow things up, and so if you're using him to that degree to intimidate people, it's good, but also a nut job.
But that is kind of,
it's true,
for lack of a better term, it's kind of 4D chess.
Sure.
Like he's telling you, oh yeah, they told me this guy's a fucking psycho, but when I'm hanging around President Xi, they don't fuck with me because I got John Bolton but they don't know, like he thinks about that like the art of war.
Right.
I'm standing next to this crazy person who you think at any time might do something. That is actually the best reason I've ever heard to have John Bolton around you.
The president carries a big stick, and his name is John Bolton. I do appreciate that, he did call John Bolton a nut job and an idiot or whatever. But, the main point, we'll get a little bit more into some of this stuff later, but I did want to just kind of contrast the two, because given those two answers to basically the same question, Kamala said, parenting, I shouldn't be answering this question. Donald Trump, he weaved a lot, and he Donald Trumped for 2.5 minutes there, but he said legitimately, I made a mistake in hiring John Bolton. I mean, he still kind of says it was a good mistake in some ways, but he has an answer, and we are supposed to be gaslighted into believing that Kamala Harris is the better candidate. Just something I want to keep in mind as we go through some of this stuff, but again, we'll come back to Trump in a little bit. Right now, I want to move on to a couple endorsements that came out over the last week. First one being the very brave and not cowardly at all, Dave Smith, with this.
I think I might vote for Trump.
Wow. That's a bombshell of breaking news.
I'll tell you what it did. And it's funny because literally when we finished the show yesterday, it was like an hour after we were done recording or something like that. I was just literally just on Twitter, and I saw Kamala Harris campaigning with Liz Cheney, and I'll play you the clip in a second. And I was just so disgusted by it that I was just like, oh, you.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah, that's the very short version.
Dave Smith voting for vengeance. I like it.
For those of you that are in the Downers Club, you know that we are responsible for this because hours before Dave put this out, we said in our private Patreon Downers Club episode that Dave Smith was a coward if he didn't come out. If he was going to secretly vote for Donald Trump and not say it, then he would be a coward. And I can only assume that Dave Smith is secretly one of those names on that list that are sneaking into the Downers Club to see what we're talking about. And we changed his mind, Dave. We did that.
Yeah, I have a feeling too. Dave Smith, you send Dan Smots $5 more.
That's right. Now, what do you think about this, Dave? Dave Smith is finally not a coward for now. I'm sure he'll come back around to cowardom later on in his cowardly career. But what do you think about him coming out making this endorsement publicly? We were told for generations that the only reason Dave Smith existed was to get Donald Trump elected, and now we see that the fakertarians and all the dipshits on the internet were right about Dave Smith. Right, Dave?
Yeah, I guess so, man. I guess they were. Like, honestly, they can't fuck with my vibe at this point. Like, I still see some people, I told you so. It's like, like the last thing that had me hanging on to like, oh, we got to fight these dudes is that the battle for the word libertarian. But actually your post on that you put on Twitter actually kind of changed my mind a little bit. Yeah. Like we have to protect language and everything, but like the energy.
I can share that. It's coming up on the list anyway, but go ahead.
We should. I mean, like we should. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So I shared this yesterday after a bunch of bullshit that we're going to talk about today, but just to kick things off, before I read mine, I did also want to point out that Michael Heiss of Dissident Media also has put out a very long-winded restatement. I say that and I'm about to read mine, which is equally as long, but put out a statement that he's voting for Trump. Go find that on Dissident Media. I would read it, but I did invite him on the show today, and he had kids and stuff and dad life.
Tend to my children.
I have to change
be
diapers,
a good dad.
Feed my spawn. All right. So here's what I put out. I said, op-ed, I'm not a libertarian. Where's easiest to read here? Okay, because this is stupid and long. If this list, which the list doesn't exist anymore because the guy apparently didn't like that I quote tweeted him and he blocked everybody. But the list that this is in reference to, DL Cummings, Liberty Dad, great guy, posted something about who are some libertarians who are some people who call themselves libertarians who actually aren't. And one of the comments was like, Dave Smith, Clint Russell, and Jeremy Kauffman. And then one of the comments on that was like, Dave Smith and Tom Woods and Ron Paul and Eric July. And it's like, all right, this is feeling like 2016 all over again. But I wrote this op-ed. I'm not a libertarian. I'm not a, quote, libertarian. If this is a list of, quote, non-libertarians, then I'm not one either. Go fuck yourself. Take your label. Go play. I don't give a fuck. The word can go the way of liberal for all I care. Words have only the power that you give them. And if you insist on depleting the power of the libertarian, the power of, quote, libertarian, so be it. Invert it, distort it, embrace pride. Hail Satan. History repeats itself. All cults are for cattle. In the current political/cultural paradigm, the Libertarian Party at large needs to come to terms with the fact that it has become simply a miniature replica of the two-party system. Big tent accepting any disaffected, quote, rebel who, quote, doesn't like the duopoly. We agree on, quote, liberty. But when shit hits the fan, we disagree on the exact same major issues that the two major parties disagree on, but on an infinitesimally smaller scale of relevance that we will spend generations insisting will help. Thus, we are devouring ourselves far faster than the rest of the duopoly is. For years, when I joined, quote, the movement, TM, should have put trademark in there. When I joined the movement, I was told by left-leaning, quote, libertarians that people like Dave Smith, Tom Woods, Eric July, Ron Paul, the entirety of the Mises Caucus, even real Spike Cohen, and basically literally all the people who were doing the work that literally brought me into, quote, the movement, were evil racist plants to install Donald Trump. Yet I haven't seen any now supporter, many of them still aren't, more reluctant to finally give in to Trump, including myself. The left-leaning libertarians succeeded at thrusting Chase into the LP POTUS spotlight in order to stop the evil Trump infiltrators. In doing so, they ironically pushed every right-leaning libertarian straight reluctantly to Trump as the only viable vote, even for protest. Meanwhile, many of the left-leaning libertarians have come out in full force to support Kamala Harris, despite getting their sparkly golden boy POTUS nomination. What's the deal? Is it because he's failed to garner any of his promised media, or is it because he's flat-out rejected any media that isn't politically niche upon niche Chase-friendly? He was supposed to be the gay millennial chosen one. Or is it because you were projecting your convictions onto your libertarian opposition the whole time? They were always going to vote for Trump, you say, but no, we really weren't. This is on you. You got your guy, but you were always going to vote for Kamala Harris because you're a Democrat, and this is, quote, the most important election of our lifetime. When you realize that Chase Oliver is, let's say, likely taking dark money from Kamala Harris to defeat Donald Trump, perhaps you'll be less offended by Angela succeeding at making real Donald Trump more libertarian. Perhaps you won't see Chase as the pure libertarian vote that will help you sleep better on your principles. This is politics, where people generally kill other people for power, regardless of their affiliation. Theory, there are no, quote, real libertarians anymore, because there are no real libertarians. There is only logic and system. When shit hits the fan, there aren't left-leaning libertarians. There's a spectrum of logic-leaning leftists. When shit hits the fan, there aren't right-leaning libertarians. There's a spectrum of logic-leaning conservatives. For whatever it's worth, this is not a rage quit. I don't have anything to quit. I'm a libertarian, quote-unquote, when libertarian is logical. When libertarian, quote-unquote, is anti-logic, I'm not a libertarian. Who cares? Be human, vote for who will realistically, potentially advance liberty in any way in your life. If they end up not actually doing it, take solace in the fact that your vote barely fucking mattered anyway. If you vote, protest. If you protest, do it most effectively and logically. If you plan to vote how you were told/obligated to, don't. If you're still confused and will vote for whoever you're told regardless, vote for Trump. It sucks. I get it. In 3 elections, this is the first time I will, thus far, reluctantly be voting for him. I am fully aware that I might regret it, at least to some degree. I didn't come to the conclusion at all lightly, and my initial conflict has largely been documented on the internet, so see for yourself. It's not my job here to convince you of anything but to stop lying to yourself, and if you vote, vote logically. If you want to know more of my vote reasoning, feel free to reach out or just watch my show. Thanks, and this concludes our broadcast day. Thank you. Good night.
Pew, 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 pew.
There you go, Dave.
You gotta be
Thank
able to
you. Pume the shit out of that, bro.
Yeah, all right. Well, now that that's out of the way, I feel like I've said enough. Dave, did you have any thoughts on that?
No, I'll just say I really appreciated that from you, man. You didn't have to do that, and but I like a little explanation, and I feel like you're certainly more patient with these people than I am, at least vocally. So I kind of like that seem like you're at your wit's end with these people. That was nice. Yep. And I'll say, just like, again, to go back to Elon, we'll talk more about him today, but the most ironic outcome is the most likely, and as it turns out, Chase is the real matrix breaker. That's so funny. Mm-hmm. That's so funny that he burned this down.
Right.
That he was the one that made everybody, open up their eyes. Yeah. Like, not just the Libertarian Party, but the whole, not the whole world.
We were all sitting around like, please give us something better than Trump to vote for. And then you gave us Chase. And we're like, oh, all right.
Right.
I guess. We still drug our feet for the last year of or last, 4 months since, I don't know when the fucking convention was at this point. 6 months ago? When was the convention?
May. So yeah, pretty close.
Yeah, we've been dragging our feet ever since then still. It's not like we were like, well, Chase is in, so we're voting for Trump. Like, it was a week or two ago, a couple weeks ago, that we finally both were like, fuck this, and gave in. And I don't feel bad because it keeps getting better the longer it takes. So keep going. It's fine.
Yeah. And whenever when I see people, good people too, that say stuff like, the Mises Caucus was a big failure and it was all for nothing and blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't expect you to understand fully. There's probably some like ingratitude there and probably some people that just don't know how it actually works. And I don't even know if I have any real way to prove this, but a lot of what you're seeing right now with the party and its influence on the other party and any kind of involvement in the unity coalition, that is all because of the Mises Caucus, man, and all of our efforts. Like, it's not one person. It's not Mike Heiss. It's not Angela, even those guys are great and champions of this shit. But it literally is the thousands of people who have been working for years and years and years to just kind of shift this a little bit. So I would implore you guys, if you're going, oh man, it was all for nothing and it was all stupid. It's like, just open up your eyes a little bit and see how like cool this time is. This unity shit is more exciting than anything that's happened in politics my whole life, including everything I've done in 7 years with the Libertarian Party. Yeah. So this is just the beginning. The Libertarians might get a seat at the table. So if you're going, I don't want a seat at the table, I want a Libertarian president, you're a loser, and we don't have time to play with you anymore.
Sit in the corner and yell about principles. Like,
yeah, I mean, you can.
Go ahead.
You can. Not only can you do that, but you can, whatever. If you want to do that from the Libertarian Party and get 0.2%, go ahead.
Yeah.
These people, the people who you list as not real libertarians, me, Dan, Smots, Ron Paul, Eric July, all these people, we're going to go do other cool shit. And you can, whatever,
fight over that list.
What's that?
Was I 2 people in that list? You said me,
Did I list
Dan,
you twice?
Smots, and somebody else.
Maybe. It's a long list. But look, when they go over those lists and when they list the top 3 people of people that shouldn't be in the movement, and you go, oh, those are like the greatest people. Then stop fighting with them over words and go, those are the people that I align with, and you can be with your friends.
And you can call yourselves what you want. If you need the term, you go right ahead and take it. And if you need to call me a Republican, then I don't give a fuck about that either, because I'll just keep being honest and you'll keep lying. So go ahead.
But yeah, and look, the Overton window is moving. Elon just posted about the Overton window moving today or yesterday. And by the way, Overton was a libertarian-leaning guy. So he made this window to kind of like show you how to move public opinion. And it actually is happening. So like, I'm not saying that that's because of the system is down or even Dave Smith. I'm just saying like everybody who's been pushing as hard as they can for the past, since the Ron Paul revolution got kicked off. That's the reason you're seeing any kind of movement at all in 2024. Yep. So don't think about it like a loss. It seriously is like it's a huge win, but you have to have been there to understand it. And proud of you guys for making those moves.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Ron Paul said many times in his career that freedom is popular. There have been many times that it's been very hard to believe that statement. However, lately it starts to, just logic is seeming more popular. And even if you don't agree with, these people on everything, be it Tulsi Gabbard, RFK, or even Donald Trump, who cares? Like, what are they offering you? As we've gone over many, many times here, who's offering you what, and what are they actually going to be able to provide you out of this deal? And Kamala Harris so far, if you're going for abortion, just like that's your main thing, go for Kamala. You got it. If you're a leftist who loves abortion but also loves open borders, if you're an open bordertarian, Kamala's not your woman. Sorry, vote for Chase. If you're, I lost me. Okay, now I'm frozen. All right, that's cool.
Oh no!
But
the Overton window has been frozen.
If you're interested in like the guy who has a very high chance of winning this thing, oh wow, what is going on here? All right, there we go. Okie dokie.
We just did a colonoscopy up at Smots' house.
No, don't turn around again. All right. Anyway, vote for Trump. That's what I'm saying. Fuck you. I'm tired. Dave, what do you got on that?
Well, just to kind of like, to tie it into your statement there in with the main story of today, if I may. This is something I've learned too with the Libertarian Party, man. You are such a small group in such a big ocean of people and thought and everything else that you just don't have the option to be a libertarian party that simply promotes libertarian values, because you are always going to be susceptible to people who would rather use you as a vehicle for Republicans or as a vehicle for Democrats. And there's not a fucking thing you can do about it. Yep. Not a thing, because you have no political power. So that's my central thesis thus far. We'll talk more about that, I'm sure.
And I mean, like, the whole saying, don't make, like, perfect the enemy of the good. Like, no, Donald Trump's not perfect. But he's not bad. Like, show me another president within the last 30 years who has had more interest in appeasing libertarians than Donald Trump in the last 6 months. I don't know. Like, we've got Donald Trump. There's been so many things lately, too, where Donald Trump, I don't even have this pulled up, but Donald Trump said he was going to abolish the income tax and replace it with just tariffs. And, of course, libertarians are, like, screeching on the internet because tariffs are still bad. It's like, yes, but right now we've got both. So what if we didn't have one? And even if tariffs make things a little bit rougher, or they increase the cost of living or something, or like increase it, and if it even levels out a little bit, or even if it does, even if it's just an experiment, let's try it. I'm willing to try getting rid of the income tax. Maybe that makes me not libertarian to not want the income tax anymore, but because tariffs are mean to other countries. I guess, do you have any thoughts on that before we get into more libertarian bullshit, Dave?
Yeah, dude, this is more of the libertarian problem. Yeah, tariffs are taxes that people pay, Americans pay for. But this is the don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Yes, right now we have both. You can have one or the other. If you had to select one, don't be the douchebag who goes, the gun would go off because they're both equal. You have to go, no, the one that affects everyone because you have to work is worse than the one that affects some things that you consume.
Right.
It's so simple. Only an idiot would have to go, it's the same thing.
It's true. I mean, yeah. And it's the same as like all the Jacob Hornberger shit throughout his entire campaign this go around, where it's like, what you're saying on paper, yeah, that's libertarianism 101, pure and beautiful and great. And the rest of us are here in reality where we're not getting Jacob Hornberger for president, believe it or not. We're not even getting Chase Oliver for president. And we'll be lucky. We will be goddamn lucky if we get Donald Trump for president over Kamala Harris. So bring on the tariffs, baby. I don't care right now. Just you're libertarians complaining about a president, a former president, and probable future president, if all goes well, pushing for getting rid of the income tax. There has never been like a greater like libertarian offer. We were getting Ross and we had Tony Hinchcliffe come on. We'll get into that in a little bit too at the Madison Square Garden thing. But he was talking about like end all these senseless wars. We got like, what do you guys want to vote? Like, what would it take to get these people to vote for anybody who's not a libertarian? And I say that, but as I'm saying it, I'm realizing that a lot of them are voting for Kamala Harris. So it obviously wouldn't take too much. It just takes party politics, and they're all full of shit.
When you tweeted the other day that the first candidate that goes on the Tony Hinchcliffe show gets your vote, and then the next day I woke up and I saw Tony Hinchcliffe with a big Trump sign in front of him with 80,000 people in front of him. I was like, yeah, it's not exactly on his show, but that probably should do it for Smots.
Yep, that's more of an endorsement than Donald Trump going on his show is him going on Donald Trump's show. So, all right. But again, we'll get to that later. Libertarian stuff. We got to talk about the headline here. Let's not bury the lead any further. Chase Oliver, as we all know, is the Libertarian candidate for candidate for president. And I guess I almost missed the opportunity. We haven't talked about him in a while, but anytime we.
Chase. C-H-A-S-E. Chase.
Nah.
Chase.
That's right. It's Chase and Cup, where we do the thing where we talk about Chase and Cup because nobody else is gonna. Now, let's talk about Chase and Cup. Let's go on over to Dissident Media, who shares this. A dark money group linked to Kamala Harris campaign attorney Mark Elias is boosting the Chase for Liberty presidential campaign through a series of YouTube ads in battleground states, an apparent ploy to pull conservative votes away from real Donald Trump. Now, we're going to watch some of these clips here because these, as a video guy, I got to say, I was impressed and I've got pretty high standards. Let's see Chase Oliver's latest ads for president, whether he likes it or not.
We don't have to do this again. There's another choice. A fiscally responsible, anti-big government, true conservative that will slash the budget, abolish income taxes, and dismantle the nanny state. His name is Chase Oliver, and I'm voting for him. We don't have to do that.
True conservative, Chase Oliver. He's slashing the budget. He's fiscally responsible, anti-big government, true conservative, slash budget, abolish income tax. Oh, wow. And dismantle the nanny state. Now, these ads, we don't know if Chase had any part in this, right, Dave?
No, there's no evidence of collusion, bro.
I don't know. The whole thing is kind of confusing to me, whether Chase is involved in it, in its creation, or if he is not, because why would the Democrats think this is going to work? Like, who could possibly think that any Trump supporter at this point is going to see this shitty little ad and be like, oh, true conservative, gay millennial, libertarian, Chase Oliver, he's the guy and not Donald Trump. Like, Donald Trump, I would say a lot of conservatives, their biggest complaint about Donald Trump is he's not conservative enough. Like, on the abortion stuff, he's a little bit more lax than a lot of conservatives would like him to be. So, you're telling me that somebody is like, well, Donald Trump's not quite there for me, but I'm pretty close. And then you see this Chase Oliver pieces of paper with lists on it that say things, and then you're like, wow, that's my guy now. Fuck this Trump guy. Chase Oliver all the way.
Honestly, man, I'm going to give you a little bit of pushback on that. And I'm going to assume that Mark Elias, lawyer for Vice President Kamala Harris and lawyer for Hillary Clinton and solicitor of the Steele dossier, like, this guy is a deep state stooge.
Yeah.
Currently working with the campaign doing this stuff. So
not with, for the
not
campaign.
With. For right.
He just had a change of heart and became a libertarian and decided to boost Chase Oliver's street cred because he loves him so much.
Here's where I think that you might be missing the mark. I don't think if they're going to play this ad and millions of Pennsylvanians are going to see it, all they need is a few thousand 18 to 34-year-old men who will see it, who might be on the fence. You don't need million. You need 5,000, 10,000, a couple hundred. When it comes down to these tight races in the swing states. So I think that these guys who see that ad, who are susceptible to it, will do zero Googles, zero research, and go, oh, that looks like a clean-cut guy who's, from what I'm from, and then just go do it. You'll just hit the third box. Third box, libertarian, clean-cut, fiscal, true conservative. There you go, because I don't like the way Trump mean tweets. There will be thousands of those people in Pennsylvania.
I don't know if I buy it.
They will do no research. They will find no pictures of Chase wearing rainbow capes and holding gay fans.
Well, let's help them then. I mean, there's plenty of them. If we want to pull them up, we can. But conservative Chase Oliver. Let's find our most conservative Chase Oliver picture here. There's a good one. The Chase Oliver, conservative, man of the people, right there.
Yo,
just
put
showing
your pubes away.
Showing you his conservative pubes and package, as you do. Now, whatever. I don't know. I don't know if I buy it, Dave. I do think there's a possibility that there might be some people who just vote third box anyway. I don't know that this is going to be the thing that sways them to vote third box any more than seeing a third box that has Chase Oliver there. For the person who's not... Go ahead.
Truth.
Go ahead. Cut me off, Dave.
I'm so sorry. I won't do it again. The group, I think it's Civic Truth Action, something like that. Obviously, just a fly-by-night corporation. put this stuff out. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, like didn't clear this with the campaign for the sole purpose of pulling votes from Trump. But dude, they didn't spend. It's not just like they had a videographer and stuff. Like this went on TV. They spent $1.5 million on Chase and PA.
Sure. Yeah.
That's a lot of money. So I don't think like people were like, oh, that's not going to work. It's going to work a little bit. It's got to work for 1.5 million. Probably going to work a little bit. Even if it doesn't, it's still funny to point out that that's what they have to do is go show you a libertarian to pull votes away.
Yeah. What's also funny about this is that it's the inverse of the Angela strategy that everybody was so outraged about that she would dare and she just said like vote for Chase Oliver in these states, wink wink, which we all knew. It's fine, whatever. But yeah, this is I don't know. I know that people are sheep. I know that people are sheep, and they might sway some people. But even if they do like see this and they're like, oh, there's a third option, I'm going to look into him a little bit. Chase Oliver has been real clean cut, and we've called him what was his name? Like Chet Oliver when he puts on straight face and suit and ties it up and slicks his hair over real nice, or puts less pomade in his hair so he looks like he likes women or something. I don't know how stereotypes work, but yeah, I think that even if somebody does go look into him, they might be like, oh, this guy's making some good points because I don't like Trump a little bit. But it's only going to take a matter of time. If they do enough digging, they're going to find the rest. And I mostly don't care. It's funny. And if there's any collusion between Chase Oliver and Kamala Harris's campaign or her people or people associated with her, that is the exact opposite of what Angela was being accused of the entire time, just for having Donald Trump attend our rally to hear our pleas. But yeah, there's another new Chase ad out as well from the same people. And this one is equally, if not more, retarded.
One side doesn't take us seriously. The other takes us for granted. And the media says voting for the person who will eliminate income taxes and protect freedoms is a waste. You know what I say? Screw them. I'm voting for Chase Oliver. One side.
Bro, listen, these guys are savvy as fuck. Listen, the way in which they frame the commercial. One side doesn't take us seriously. The other side thinks blah, blah, blah. You're proposing this like you're a libertarian. You are not. You are a Democrat.
You're a Democrat
lawyer
who is telling they're not. I mean, they're not only propagandizing you into believing that both sides hate you. They're telling you the truth to some degree. They're like, we don't take you seriously. Those Republicans over there take us for granted. This us. Who's this us we're talking about? But we don't take you seriously, libertarians. Just want to let you know that out the gate. But screw us, right? Go vote for Chase Oliver if you're considering voting for the people who take us for granted. But also, you're right. The wording is sneaky and kind of smart, but it's also really lame at the same time. Like, it's really watered down messaging of like look around at the Democrat Party and the Republican Party and the complaints that people have for both of them. And if you want to boil that down to one thing, Democrats don't take us seriously and Republicans take us for granted. Yeah, that's it. That's like, it's just very weak messaging to begin with. But you're right. To the lay person who's just like, I am sick of hearing about Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, they might see this and be like, screw them. I'm voting for Chase.
There's a reasonable third option.
Right.
I didn't know. Thank you. Yeah.
Yep. So how much was spent on this, Dave? Did you say?
$1.5 million. The receipts are in the link there.
Okay.
From our intrepid reporters
over
here at Dissident Media. Yep.
All right. I can't scroll. Let me see if I can open it. New tab and scroll. There we go. Okay. So what are we looking at here? Oh, there's the amount. 1.5 million. Who's Chase Russell? Name? Oh, that's his middle name. Chase Russell Oliver.
Oh wait, did they? Wait.
What?
So did the money go? I'm sorry. Maybe I didn't read this. Did they donate to Chase? Is that what it says? No.
It says name of federal candidate. I think it's just the candidate that is being represented here.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. me see. Support. Yeah, there's not a ton here. Has there ever been a Libertarian candidate who's had a $1.5 million ad campaign spent on him from another party, Dave?
I bet you that this is not the first time.
Sure.
In fact, that just to make my point hit it home, that's what I'm saying. You don't have a choice in this. This is what I said regarding Chase's, regarding this story. When Democrats tied to the VP spend 4 times more on ads promoting your own campaign in key swing states than you could raise for yourself nationwide.
Yeah.
You need to accept the fact that you are a candidate in name only. In reality, you are a tool that is to be exploited and used by people with power. You are a power bottom. That is what you are. That is what you are. You are to be used and exploited by people with actual power. And the more you go out there and just present yourself as an equal, the third option, I resent it so much more as time goes by.
Yeah, and we do have the original article here from freebeacon.com, so you know it's legit. They say Kamala Harris's campaign. That's the same headline we just read. Kamala Harris campaign attorney Mark Elias linked to swing state ads boosting Libertarian candidate. YouTube ads encourage young men to say screw him and vote Libertarian. Be a man. Vote for the gay guy. You're a man. I'm a man's man. I'm a man. I'm voting for a gay man. A dark money group linked to Kamala Harris's campaign attorney. We already read that a third time. An apparent ploy to pull conservative votes away from Donald Trump. Civic Truth Action, a super PAC launched in July, has spent more than $1.5 million on ads supporting Libertarian candidate Chase Oliver, according to campaign finance disclosures released this week. Is that the same thing that we've got here? Is that the same disclosure? Yes,
yeah,
it is.
That's
all right. Cool. The group is airing dozens of YouTube ads in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Nevada, touting Oliver as a true conservative who will abolish income taxes and dismantle the nanny state, according to the company's ad database. But Civic Truth Action isn't funded by a group of small government activists. It's sole backer, a dark money outfit called Evidence for Impact, has contributed $4,350,000 to Civic Truth Action since September, according to the campaign finance records. Little is known about Evidence for Impact, but records obtained by the Washington Free Beacon show that its beneficial owner is Ezra Reese, an attorney at the Democratic elections firm Elias Law Group. So a Democrat is paying lots of money to because they hashtag walked away from Kamala Harris, and now they're just supporting Chase Oliver to the tune of $1.5 million to push the 2 gayest ads that I have seen out of this campaign.
But he still works for her, and they just set up this PAC in July for the sole purpose of laundering money for this kind of effort.
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, it's a bold strategy. Do you think it'll pay off, Dave? Do you think that this will get us above that 3% threshold that we need to be there and do nothing?
Listen, this is probably something we should consider to incorporate into dissident consulting services in the future, because it seems like there's a lot of money in, like, they also used this PAC to put money into an independent candidate in like Arizona or something like that, because anything you can do to just tilt it 1%, 2%, like that would do the job, and then you win, and then you get your bonuses and blah blah blah. If you're the campaign manager for Kamala Harris and you get 10% of what you raise, you'll probably do some shit.
We should have started Dems for Chase, and then like made a Twitter page and put out ads and pretend like we were Democrats. That would have been funny.
That would have cooked.
It would have, unless we got bored and forgot about it and stopped doing it because it was boring.
Yeah, I don't like to punch down. At this point, I feel like he's almost
he got $1.5 million toward his campaign.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, kind of, not really though. But at the end of the day, you and I know that Chase would prefer a Kamala Harris presidency. That's the fact. Nobody can hide that. Angela,
the gun would go off, Dave. The gun would go off.
Angela would prefer Trump, and Chase would prefer Kamala Harris. And
you know why? It's because they are libertarian-leaning leftists and rightists. I'm getting to the point where it's like, as I said in a million words in that statement, It's like, okay, libertarianism is what exactly? If it means legal abortion up till birth and also protecting human rights, like that's just one example. But like the splits that libertarians have amongst themselves are so heavily split that like, why do we have a third party if we're just bitching about the exact same things that we would be bitching about if you were honest about being a Democrat and we were honest about being more closely aligned with Republicans? Like, what difference does it make if our party's not doing anything and we're just bitching on a smaller scale and nobody gives a shit? Except for people who want to use us as pawns and pay $1.5 million to use us as tools against their opponents.
Yeah. There's a guy in the party. He ran for, I think, vice chair last time. His name's Tub Roraball. He said, I got a question.
I'm not laughing at your name, Tub.
When libertarians say they support Harris, they're dismissed as Democrats. But libertarians supporting Trump are not Republicans? How is that?
I don't care what they are.
But the answer is Trump and Republicans are more sympathetic to libertarian causes than Kamala Harris and Democrats. I hope that helps you.
Kamala Harris said the word libertarian in her entire career. Like, Donald Trump didn't up until he came to our event, and now he's saying things that are a lot more libertarian sense and bringing people on like Vivek and even RFK Jr., who are a lot more libertarian than Kamala Harris is, who has zero interest in you, zero interest in your party, isn't even trying to garner votes from it. Like, the only thing they've done, the only thing the left has done to try and pander to libertarians is using Chase Oliver with $1.5 million to try and fuck with Donald Trump. That is the only time that they have given a single shit about anything libertarians have to say, let alone libertarian principles, values, or anything that would make us, inclined to vote. So, yeah.
And they're not doing it out of the kindness of their heart or even being public about it. Those videos were hard to find. To find. They don't want you to see. They only want those ads to be seen on, like, they have to be uploaded to these certain channels and stuff for transparency's sake. But, we got that ad sent to us via text because somebody in PA saw the ad, got the texts about it.
Yeah.
But that's amazing that nobody would have known. $1.5 million. The whole Chase campaign raised $400,000, which is, by the way, the worst fundraising that any libertarian candidate has ever done. Congratulations.
Yeah. Yep.
So, yeah, 1.5, you should be happy that maybe the Democratic Party, even though they don't want to talk about it, is going to help you get some votes in a swing state or two.
Yep. And, again, you're right. Punching down sometimes is kind of what it feels like. The guy's not doing great. He's not going to do great. And we're just the dicks who made sure he didn't do great. Okay, fine, whatever. But, like I said in my statement, this guy, Chase Oliver, much like all the rest of them, in fairness, but this guy, as did everybody else, insisted he was going to be the guy to go. Like, he went to all 50 states. He did the 50-state tour. It's the first time any libertarian candidate's done that. He's a millennial. He's gay. He'll get the media coverage. He'll get the eyeballs. He can speak the message better than anybody. And then once he became the candidate, he didn't accept invites to go on libertarian podcasts, even. Lots of, from what I've seen. I haven't seen him on much of anything. I definitely haven't seen him on Joe Rogan or, 60 Minutes or Tucker Carlson. I would think that the libertarian candidate, if he was worth anything at all, could at least get on Tucker Carlson at this point, right? But instead, he's turning down people who are offering him, yes, not giant platforms, but offering him platforms that are more friendly than anybody else would be. He, as far as I can tell, he has avoided as much media as Kamala Harris has, if not more, and Joe Biden. Like, he's using the Democratic strategy. He went to all 50 states, yes, but just because you drove through and stopped at a park and said, hello, I'm the candidate, and some people said, hello, candidate, and then you drove on your way, doesn't mean that you did anything by spending all that gas money and driving all across God's green earth. And as is evidenced by the fact that we are now, 8 days away from the election, and still nobody cares. Nobody cares at all. Your name doesn't come up. And why would you expect it to come up when Donald Trump has everybody who was running against him is now on his team, and Kamala Harris, everybody who's running against her is now on her team, And then we got Chase Oliver. Everybody who's running against him doesn't want to vote for Chase Oliver. Like there's nothing to be gained or benefited from for voting for this guy unless you are a Democrat.
Yo, bro. Perennial loser Jill Stein has already lost for the Green Party twice before now, and currently is sitting on a war chest of $2.5 million raised. And she's been on the Breakfast Club, and she's talked about her platform, and she goes hard on anti-war shit, and she goes hard on the Israeli-Gaza conflict. So if you need that for your protest vote, you loser, then vote for Jill Stein. Okay? Because that actually makes sense.
Yeah.
But if you just want to get away from the kids' table for the first time in your life, just make an adult decision and choose. Just like all the infiltrating Democrats and infiltrating Republicans in our party, you can act like you want to share a party with people who are pro-life versus pro-choice and all these things. You don't want to be around them. I don't want to be around them. So just pick the one that most closely resembles you. Be grateful for the fact that the Democratic Party is now the pro-war and pro-abortion party. So you don't have to feel like you're like touching down on both sides. They've made it very easy for you.
Right. And also, do you know who, I mean, it might be too mean. Maybe we're giving Chase too hard of a time because he's not getting the same amount of press coverage as Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. Of course he's not. But you know who got more press coverage than Chase Oliver has so far? Gary Johnson, Bill Weld, Spike Cohen, Joe Jorgensen, even Vermin Supreme. Like there are people who weren't the nominee who have gotten more press coverage running for the Libertarian spot than Chase has gotten since having the spot. So I don't know why you think that people should vote for you if you're not even willing to, like, I don't know. I don't know. Do stuff.
When this is all over, you'll see Mike Tremont, mark my words, Mike Tremont will come out, so will Chase, go, we got no support and nobody from the party gave us any money. And that's why our campaign didn't work. That is what's going to happen.
We will be blamed for this. Mark my words.
Absolutely. But the Libertarian in chief, that epic loser, he put out a list of like all of the money raised by every Libertarian candidate from 1980 till right now. And dude, there's, Ed Clark in 1980 raised, this is not adjusted for inflation, by the way, $3.2 million in 1980. And what did Chase Oliver in 2024 do? 0.4. Like, bro, that's so pathetic. It's actually, there's a real story in here. You can see the second campaign for Johnson in 2016, by far and away, so much more money than the party ever made. $11.7 million in their campaign. And to be fair, he's probably
a conservative, though, Dave. He's a conservative.
Bill Weld came in and he brought all kinds of daddy warbucks, Raytheon money into the party. And that's where that came from. They wanted to see that guy get elevated. So we're probably still feeling the effects from 2016 when you let all those neocon pieces of shit in to do some fundraising and lean the party their way. You're probably still dealing with some of that.
Yeah.
3.4 million for Jorgensen. That was a lackluster campaign, but $3 million
videos,
more dollars. Great videos. Listen, I wonder how many millions of dollars that you affected that campaign. Probably at least a couple. They should have probably thought about spending a couple bucks with you, but now you're left
they
with
should
that.
give me much more money than they did, but it is what it is. I am grateful for everything the Libertarian Party has given me. Before 6 months ago. Anyway, there's I mean, that's pretty much the gist of the Chase Oliver stuff. You want support, you got to earn it, and you haven't even earned it from Libertarians, let alone anybody else. The only thing people see you as valuable for is to use against their opponents if you happen to be, something of value in select states. But
like a glory hole, like a truck stop glory hole for Democrats and Republicans to just come in and use.
Damn straight. Now, if you were working on the Chase Oliver campaign and you slipped, had a tumble on the job, and you got injured, and suddenly you woke up and your butt hurt really bad for some reason, probably from falling on it, is all I'm saying, then you should call Lone Star Injury Attorneys. Have you or a loved one been injured by some fucknuggets, reckless driving, a tumble at your shitty job, or some other form of dumb shit outside of your control? Well, fear not, because today's episode is sponsored by a lawyer. Lone Star Injury Attorneys is an award-winning personal injury law firm that achieves maximum results for its injured clients. Max the Axe is not just a lawyer, but a hardcore Mises Caucus libertarian and also a big supporter of this show and all of our bullshit. Max is the best personal injury lawyer in Texas, but don't judge him by his occupation or location. Max is an avid defender of liberty and justice in whatever state you got fucked in. If you've been injured and your ass needs saving, go with the pros at Lone Star Injury Attorneys. Visit LoneStarInjuryAttorneys.com or Google Max the Axe. Consultations are free and you don't pay a single dime unless you win. Once again, go to LoneStarInjuryAttorneys.com and get your ass covered. All right, that's enough of that shit, because whatever. Go vote for your guy if you want to. Feel free. But let's see. We've got a couple chats here that I thought were worth mention. Libertarian Pugnatter says, avoiding Timcast and Dave Smith's offers to come on their shows was damning. Yes, it was. And not only was it damning that you didn't go on their show, I would be willing to bet that the fact that you didn't go on their show is the reason why nobody else invited you on. Like, if you had gone on Dave Smith's show or Tim Pool's show and said, I am the Libertarian presidential candidate, and here's my bad arguments, you would have gotten more invites, even just from people who don't like you. If nothing else, you'd have gotten invites from people who want the Libertarian presidential candidate on their show. I don't know how much he's been offered and turned down, but it doesn't really matter. I guess I'm not sure which is worse, not being offered or getting the offers and turning them down. Either way, whatever. You're doing great. Tim Brown says, power bottom, LOL, good one. Pume, Dave.
Pew. That's right. You got to be able to pew.
Sean Van Beaverhout says, fake super chat, Kojima made me gay was always Dave Smith after all. I'm straight.
It's awesome.
He's just been sneakily hiding out there with that convoluted name. Ray C says, fake super chat. Who the fuck are these people voting for Harris? Have they just siloed themselves so much that they don't see any of their hundreds of gaffes? Yes, I think so. Like,
that's what it is. Yeah.
It has to, like, when I watch these clips of Kamala Harris and these clips of Donald Trump, as, again, not a big fan of either one, but when I watch the clips side by side, which is kind of why I wanted to open with that, the gaslighting or just the sheer stupidity of people who are like, well, clearly she's intelligent and she's gotten there. Like, I saw people making the arguments on some of my posts this week, like, she got there because she's an intelligent, able-bodied, capable woman, and he's an idiot who can't string a sentence together. It's like, what are you watching? Is it that we are literally living in different realities and you are seeing something completely different than what I'm seeing? Am I the idiot here? Am I stupid? Is your brain broke? Are you lying? Am I lying? I don't know anymore. It's making me tired, but I'm pretty sure that you're a fucking retard, or you're a lying retard, or you're a fucking lying retard. I don't know. Dave, my brain's broken. I cleaned up so much shit this morning, Dave.
Listen, it's always malevolence and incompetence. It's just the ratio that you have to figure out.
Yep. Anyway, let's move on from libertarians. Again, let's move to
real quick before we do.
Okay.
Real quick. Just one last.
Go ahead. Cut me off, Dave. It's fine.
I'm very sorry, but I didn't want to do it on the next subject. So this is, I just wanted to make a point because we've been picking on Chase and kind of, whatever, the LP for a little bit here. And I just want to say that, we spent a lot of time on this show and in our personal lives and, just focused. Man, remember all those debates that we went to with 10, 12 candidates, and they did it 30 times, and it fucked up
moderated
friendships.
One, and I watched all the rest of them, and it was like,
dude, I got involved in a campaign, and it hurt some friendships. And you know what? Every single person
we haven't
that
been
I
the
was
same
fighting
since,
with,
Dave.
listen, me and you and Josh and Dave and all the people who were giving us shit for even entertaining RFK, everybody's on the same page now. Yep. All for naught. It was everybody ended up at the same thing. You got a binary choice between that bitch and Donald Trump. So all of that was all for naught. It was all stupid, and we all should have foregoed that time and spent it doing other shit together. Sorry for yelling.
Chase, chase, chase. Chase.
All right, that has been Chase and Cup. Yeah. All right. So we're going to talk about people who actually get media coverage now, people like Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. A couple weeks ago, if you remember, maybe a week, 2 weeks ago, there was this whole thing. Kamala Harris was having this big media blitz, this big push at the end, and everybody's like, wow, Kamala Harris is really stepping her game up. She went from 0 interviews ever. I'm pretty sure they were comparing her to Chase Oliver at that point. 0 interviews ever to now she's got 5 interviews in 2 days, and they're with a bunch of people that agree with her on everything and are going to ask her softball questions that she will have still somehow managed to fuck up the answers to. Everybody's like, wow, this might be it. This might be what pushes Kamala Harris over the edge. And then we had Donald Trump went on Flagrant with Andrew Schultz. He went on Theo Vaughn. He went on, I guess he went on PBD. I didn't even know he went on PBD, but I saw a clip this morning that he was on PBD. Have you caught that?
Just a clip.
Okay. He went on PBD. He went on Joe Rogan, the largest podcast in the entire fucking world. And then just to round it all off, like a day or two after he did the largest podcast in the world that everybody's been clamoring and anticipating, and then he gave us 3 hours, and we didn't even have time to filter through those 3 hours of conversation before he was like, I'm going to do Madison Square Garden and bring all of my friends out to support me. So we can kind of talk about this all as one big thing because we definitely don't have time to get into each one individually. But did you catch the entirety of the Rogan interview, Dave? I know it's long and it's a lot. What have you seen of that, though? He doesn't know he's muted.
Fuck.
I've got a song for you, Dave.
Dave's got gray hair, but he ain't slow. In the world of truth, his game is pro. Eyes wide open, mind ready to blow. Every theory he knows leaves him hollering, whoa.
All right.
That was fun. Let's do that some more.
Yeah. From now on, when you mute yourself, I'm just gonna let you talk for a bit and start playing your latest theme song of the week. But what were you saying there, Dave?
I don't even remember, dude. I just got lost in the dance there. That was fun. Yeah. What did you ask me? And then I'll sure.
Rogan. Trump on Rogan.
Yeah. So I did not see any of the hate rally last night in Madison Square Garden, but I did see all of the Rogan interview.
Okay. What was your? I planned and still kind of plan on rewatching the Rogan interview. I had it playing while I was working on some shit and wasn't paying that close of attention. I've got Dylan's thread here actually of the different segments we can kind of go through. But yeah, was there anything particular that stood out to you? I'm not sure if I've made it to the end of it yet, even because again, it's 3 hours long, and there might be a 30-minute segment on like boxing versus MMA or whatever, and I just trail off too easily. My weave isn't as good as Donald Trump's. I weave away, but then I don't come back. But what stuck out to you in this interview, Dave?
You already kind of, I'm trying to find the tweet that I talked about it, but you talked about the John Bolton part where he kind of like gave you a clue as to who he really is. And I liked that part, but he did it a couple other times too. Let me see here. Okay. So when Trump talks, there was a part where he was talking about, environmental groups profiting off builders. Like, oh, they'll just take, it'll take years for you to build something and they'll just point to a puddle and be like, that's a pond and you can't build here. And then at the end of it, talking about how, all this government bureaucrats get in the way of progress and building and everything. He goes, if I was them, I'd probably do it too. And I was like, wow, he's really he's giving you something there.
Yeah.
When he says, when he talks about advising his friends, like his friends will call him and be like, look, I could get this job at CNN, but I have to talk shit on you. And he goes, do it. Go ahead. You need to work. I'm
not worried about it.
This is what I've been trying to say about Donald Trump. He's not a savior. He is not the devil. He is a WWE Hall of Famer who will say whatever it takes to do the job. And that is that was my takeaway from the Rogan interview, is that he just gets to be himself and he is a real one. But he's not either of the things that both sides think he is.
Right. Yeah, I think the main thing that this interview did was humanize him. I mean, it doesn't get much more human than 3 hours. Like, there's no running, there's no hiding, there's no editing, there's no there's you can weave all you want. Oh, what's happening? You can weave all you want, but at some point your weave has to come back because you still got 2 hours and 45 minutes left after that weave. So there's speculation of Kamala Harris going on, which I think would be just gloriously awful. I'm torn on it. I want it to happen, but I don't think it's going to because she can't. She can't answer a question like, what have you done? What'd you have for breakfast? What's your favorite color? It's nothing. But this was good. And Joe Rogan, being Joe Rogan, asked him very human questions, and he gave very human answers. Here's Donald Trump talking about, I would say, one of what I would imagine most people would want to ask Donald Trump about, which is the scar on his ear from being shot. And I'm surprised that, I don't remember Andrew Schultz or any of the others being like, can I take a closer look at that ear? But Joe Rogan did.
I was.
He was a nice
once
guy.
they shot you, I was like, he's got to come in here. It's all about timing. It's all about the timing. I think our timing's perfect. Do you even have a scar on your ear? You got anything on there?
I do.
Let me see. What do you got
So, right over here.
Oh, it's a tiny little mark.
It zicked right there.
Yeah. It healed up pretty fucking good.
Well, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's little. It's not like some of the wrestlers.
When I heard this, I was like, if I was Joe Rogan, I'd be like, can I take a closer look at that? Because even here, Joe Rogan's like, yeah, looks like it healed up pretty good there. But do you think he's skeptical at all? Or is he just being like, good job? I mean, congratulations. That healed up really fast. I know your wounds suck.
I wonder. I'm sure there were, Joe did not, he could have asked some tougher questions in this. And I'm sure that was probably part of the deal. Hey, man, we don't talk about this. And that's fine. If you got a deal, I'll come on your show, but we don't want to talk about X, Y, and Z. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe, man. I don't know. Joe Rogan's skeptical about a lot.
I get it.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the UFC fighters.
No, you didn't get cauliflower.
No. It was sort of like a top shot.
Mm-hmm.
The point of the bullet was a little of the ass, but you see the thing's taken off a little bit. But it makes me a tougher guy.
All right.
It makes me a tougher guy. When you say that it makes you tougher, it actually takes away some toughness. Right. So,
but it makes me cooler, bro. Chicks dig scars. Check this out.
This is
check out
street
this lobe.
cred. Yeah. Joe, it's called street cred. I got it.
You should try it sometime. Yeah, it's interesting to see these people get together because, like you said, Trump is the WWE guy. He is a showman. Joe Rogan is no different, really. I mean, he is in some ways, but he is literally the UFC guy. Who it's more realistic. It's more real. So he's got more actual legitimate questions than Trump has. But it's interesting to see these two people clash who have not clash now. They're more coming together. Who have clashed in the past. Just like 4 months ago, Donald Trump posted after Joe Rogan said something about Trump. Donald Trump was like, I hate Joe Rogan, and the next time he goes into the UFC, they're gonna all boo him. It's all fake. All that showboating shit. That didn't even really occur that much to me when going into this. I saw some people being like, they're gonna just be screaming at each other the whole time because these two guys hate each other. I was like, I don't think that's true. I think that's the internet that you're talking about. Oh. And this is two people in real life getting together for a 3-hour conversation. I don't think they're going to be like, remember that time you said something that was mean? I didn't like that mean thing. And, yeah, I don't know.
This is not how people who are worth hundreds of millions and billions of dollars behave. These guys go, is this... I mean, I'm not talking about Joe Rogan, who's probably whatever. The idea that you can do business and make money is what successful people think about. Yep. So that's at the end of the day. Oh, is this going to draw eyes? Are we going to, we're going to hit the mark? That's, we're going to do a big show. That's what is important. Vince McMahon used to get sued for $100 million at a time for fucking sexually harassing chicks and all the, and then they would come back a couple years later, they'd settle and he'd hire them back. And people would be like, how could you do that? You went through all these fights because he's trying to make billions of dollars.
Business, baby.
That's why. Yeah.
Yep. Here is Donald Trump and Joe Rogan discussing whether or not Kamala Harris will go on.
Can you imagine Kamala doing this show?
I could imagine her doing this show.
She'd be laying on the floor.
She was supposed to do it, and she might still do it, and I hope she does.
She's not going to.
I will talk to her like a human being. I will
if
try
she
to have
did
a conversation
this kind of an
with her.
interview with you.
Oh shit! No.
I hope she does, because it would be a mess. She'd be laying on the floor comatose. She'd be saying, "Call in the medics."
I think we'd have a fine conversation.
Joe's still trying to keep it together. Like, he knows. He knows. He's like, no, I want her to come on the show, so I'm not going to frighten her. It will be a fine conversation, Mr. Trump. I think Trump's more right on this one. What do you think, Dave?
Sure. Of course. And he's just at so much more of a position of advantage because he gets to tell the truth. Nobody's in my ear telling me what I have to say.
Yeah.
They might give him pointers and go, hey, man, he's going to ask you about John Bolton and your bad hire. So you might want to have something ready for that. But like nobody's telling him what he has to say. And these are your lines. So he's just at a forever advantage. I feel so bad for Kamala Harris. She couldn't even answer that one question. Have you ever made a mistake? Oh, yeah. Adopting these stupid kids was a horrible mistake.
Have you seen the girl one? I don't know what's going on with her. That's a real big mistake I made there.
Yikes.
Train wrecked. Now, Donald Trump and Joe Rogan also discussed third parties. And let's see how... drinking game. Everybody drink every time the presidential candidate or vice presidential candidate's names are brought up when discussing the third parties. Here we go.
He's now with us, but it's a two-party system, and anytime you hear third party, I know you like RFK Jr. and so do I. He's a fantastic guy.
I do, but I thought that being an independent was nonsense.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work because even if you do great, you're not going to get Congress. In other words, you need now to say, okay, now I'll get half of Congress that's never going to vote for you. So even if you got there, which is very hard, and I know how you feel about Bobby, and I feel the same way, and he's now with us. But it doesn't. It's pure and simple. It's a two-party system.
Congratulations on Sober October, everyone. If you are playing the drink every time Chase Oliver's name is mentioned in mainstream media, you'll be just as sober as Donald Trump is. Now, here, well, let's see. Was there anything else? I can go through some of these, but was there any other points that I should look for specifically, Dave? Anything that stands out to you worth bringing up?
No, that was the thing. There was nothing newsworthy. It wasn't. Yeah. It didn't make Trump. It didn't break Trump. There was nothing outrageous. It was a decent, unoffensive conversation between these two guys. It was just like,
which is kind of good. Like, sure, there's not as much sizzle and spice as we would typically prefer, but it's like, I was told that these guys were going to tear each other's heads off, or Donald Trump was gonna flounder and fall apart. But no, it was just two dudes having a conversation for 3 hours about shit, and interesting people having interesting conversations. They talked about nuclear war. They talked about the no tax on tips. Let's go ahead and watch a little bit of the no tax on tips and see.
But she was in favor of it.
Yes.
So think of it. She changed. She changed 15 policies. In fact, I'm going to send her a MAGA cap.
She stole your idea about no tax for tips.
I came up with this idea that honestly nobody ever heard of.
Ron Paul came up with that.
It's true. I like how Donald Trump's like, yeah, she did. But yeah, I mean, it's not like he was the first one to propose this idea. But as far as people who might be president soon, he to my knowledge, is the first one that did. And
people
Kamala
don't
Harris
understand. Listen, just this one. Like, he's made so many promises, but just this one would actually make America sizably greater again.
Sure.
If you let the bottom most earning portion of America make $25,000, $35,000 at a part-time job serving at TGI Fridays or something, just to keep all of their money.
Yeah.
Do you understand what an extra $700 or $1,000 would do for a poor person in America right now?
Yes, I do. I do, Dave.
Exactly. Lots of us are living paycheck to paycheck, and that would help. So it's a simple solution that would actually have great benefit. And you'd think more libertarians would go, oh, wow, just that. Just that would actually be like a libertarian win. But no, because he's MAGA. It's a red hat. So sorry, no.
Yep.
And now it took her 2 months, but you know what? All of a sudden,
it caught fire,
and she just put it into a little speech.
Yeah,
well,
it became
but
popular.
I think we still have that issue. I think that issue is a good one for us. But no, we have a lot of good issues. You know, we had the other day. Think of how simple some of these things are. We're trying to get cars built in the United States. Detroit has been really tough. It's been a disaster. They have a huge factory, a huge car auto plant being built by China in Mexico, make cars, sell them in the United States, put everybody out of business. Right, here we go again. I said, if that plant is there when I'm president, I will put 100 or 200% tariffs on every car. They'll be unsaleable in the United States. And they just announced they're not going to build the plant because they think I'm going to win.
Scary tariffs again, Dave.
Very scary. Very scary.
Yep. There was one point that it was brought up, the income tax also. I'm not seeing that one off the bat, but yeah, it's apparently, you know, a real thing being discussed and not just headlines. And there goes my camera again. And I'm back and frozen. Yay. I love technology. I love it.
I am.
You got to be able to pew.
You know,
you got to be
just
able
gotta
to
roll with the punches. There's the inside of my colon again, and there we go. All right. Now, maybe if I keep it on follow mode, it'll stay awake. All right. So, whatever. We can move on from the Joe Rogan debate or Joe Rogan discussion because, yeah, go watch it. It's worth a watch, certainly. It is fucking history. Like, all of these things are historic, and I don't think that's getting enough appreciation. The fact that Donald Trump did Madison Square Garden right after going on Joe Rogan is fucking historic. And can you imagine, for as hard as it is to imagine how Kamala Harris would do on Joe Rogan's show, can you imagine Kamala Harris booking Madison Square Garden, Dave?
Bro, no.
Doesn't that tell you all that you need to know about this election? The fact that one guy can pack it out and sell it out, and the other person, I don't know, maybe they would bus in enough people to make it look full, but I doubt they even would try to do something like that because it's such a massive arena that it's going to be obvious if you're lacking at all. But we've been told that by Kamala Harris that people are showing up to Donald Trump's rallies and leaving because they're bored. Like, yeah, Madison Square Garden sold out because Donald Trump. And I'm pretty sure that all the rest of the cast of characters that showed up for this thing were not on the billing even. Donald Trump played Madison Square Garden as though he were a musician, a comedian, anything else. He's just some dude running for president, and we're supposed to hate him, be scared of him, and sold it out. Now, we don't need Kamala Harris to go and prove that anybody, just old anybody, can sell at Madison Square Garden. All we got to know about this major event is that, well, let's just take it from MSNBC.
But that jamboree happening right now, you see it there on your screen, in that place is particularly chilling because in 1939, more than 20,000 supporters of a different fascist leader, Adolf Hitler, packed the garden for a so-called pro-America rally. A rally where speakers voiced anti-Semitic rhetoric from a stage draped with Nazi banners. When a Jewish protester rushed the stage, the Associated Press reported, quote, instantly, a dozen or more stormtroopers set upon him, knocking him down and beating him as he held his head in his arms. Most of his clothing was torn from his body. Later, he was booked for disorderly conduct. Now, against that backdrop of history, Donald Trump, the man who has threatened to use the military against opponents he calls enemies from within, who has threatened to use the troops to quell what he says are lawless cities, and to use those troops to carry out mass deportations of immigrants, is once again turning Madison Square Garden into a staging ground for extremism.
You know what this is, Dave? You know what this is?
What is it? What is it, dude?
This is the ivermectin of venues. Madison Square Garden now is evil all of a sudden because Donald Trump went there and did a thing. Like, it's been praised as the greatest play. Like, I wonder if Madison Square Garden has a problem with MSNBC doing this type of coverage for their like, they hosted a Nazi rally according to MSNBC. Madison Square Garden, the largest or like the most prominent venue in the entire country. Because Hitler did it once, now anybody who plays or does anything political at Madison Square Garden, they are Nazis and we should be concerned about their extremist rhetoric. It's like, ivermectin, winning awards for curing all sorts of diseases, and then when COVID comes along and we don't want you using ivermectin, it's horse paste now. Madison Square Garden is horse paste to these people because Hitler drank water once, and now we've seen Donald Trump also drinking water. Coincidence? I think not. What do you think, Dave?
Look, man, I'm not gonna lie. Like that news segment, and you know, it seems like par for the course, but like that enrages me, dude. Like I have absolute hatred for MSNBC. I hate them. Whatever penance comes to the criminals at whatever Donald Trump can do with Project 2025 to the people at MSNBC when he gets elected, I hope he does it. Because they deserve it, dude. When you in the same way
do you mean authoritarianism and locking them all up for crimes, Dave? Listen, how far do you take this? Rachel Maddow told me that he was going to kill them all. So is that how far you're taking it?
It's free speech. You can say what you want, but in the same way that if you lie about like a rape charge, oh, this person raped me, but you made that up, you lied. What should the penance be for that? I'm not saying it should be the exact same thing as doing a rape, but it should be pretty fucking bad. If you call somebody and
if you accuse somebody of raping you wrongfully, you get raped. Like if you want to if you want to have that, if you need to have that banner to make your victimhood more palatable,
these are people,
you get raped.
Bro. Oh, we want America to be united, and we're tired of the hateful rhetoric. And then you come out and you go, but unfortunately, a group of Black, white, Indian, Asian, Latino Americans gathered in the most liberal city in America to capacity in peace.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a Nazi rally. Fuck you.
Yep.
Fuck you. You are un-American filth. And I'm right at this point, bro, I need a little bit of unity. I want to be around people that care about this country, regardless of our political philosophies. Let's see where there's common ground. Those are the people who I'm interested in talking to and being around, not people who think exactly like me and fuck everybody else. That's an inversion, a perversion, and I'm not interested in those people's ideas anymore.
Well said, Dave. And I didn't mention earlier, when Dave Smith came out and finally stopped being a coward and endorsed Donald Trump, I noticed multiple people coming out all of a sudden having this brave moment of, hey, I also support Donald Trump. It's fine. You can do it. Better late than never, but good on you for being brave when Dave Smith finally does it. Now, one guy in particular who I've been a fan of for a very long time, who has said that he gets he agrees with Dave Smith on all of his politics. He has said that on his show. Tony Hinchcliffe, comedian, who hosts another one of the largest, I think it is the largest live streaming podcast in the world. Kill Tony is. And he hasn't been that outspoken. I mean, he winks and nods about stuff on his show, but I've never heard him come out and outright say, I'm voting for Donald Trump. I still haven't technically heard him say that he's voting for Donald Trump, but I do think it's telling that he decided to show up and they gave him 11 minutes of time to literally say whatever he wanted to say, for better or worse. And here's a little bit of why people are mad about that. Here's Tony Hinchcliffe opening for Trump.
A lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay, all right, okay, we're getting there. Again, normally I don't follow the national anthem, right. Everybody. A lot going on. Like,
all right, yeah, there was a few jokes like that people are very, very outraged by, and I think it warrants a conversation because I have thoughts. Tony Hinchcliffe and his show, Kill Tony, I think is one of the best things for culture currently in the zeitgeist because they do offensive jokes. They make fun of each other, no matter your skin color, your race, your gender, whatever, your anything. All is fair when you're on the stage of comedians making offensive jokes at each other. I think it's beautiful. I think it's unifying. Now he takes that energy, which Tony Hinchcliffe is known for, that roasting and offensive energy, and he takes it to a Donald Trump rally where everybody's being called a Nazi and makes a couple, racial jokes. I like them. I understand what jokes are. The rest of the mainstream media is now using this to say that Donald Trump invited some unknown comedian to just spew white supremacy all over this white supremacist stage. Dave, I'm curious. Is there any part of you that's like, maybe this wasn't the time or the place to say that Puerto Rico is a dumpster or like a floating trash island or something? Not because it's offensive, but because we know what is happening here and how it will be used. Do you think that this was an overstep, an oversight, or do you think he's on the money and fuck these people?
No, I mean, it was funny. I laughed. That is my humor too, and I think that he's great. This is not a criticism.
I also don't like Puerto Ricans. So,
but no, I think if I was the Trump campaign or somebody on it, I would go, oh shit, we did not need that. Like that didn't help you. That did not help you. But because they are so, and I'm not doubting his intentions or anything. It's only the other side. Only the other. Yeah. You can only lose from that.
And if you watch the entire 11 minutes, it was fucking hilarious. There were some more things, and he brought him back around, and sometimes the crowd turned on him because they were uncomfortable, and he would just be like, it's jokes, whatever. Of course, the media is always and forever going to clip everything out of context and going to take the worst thing that they can possibly find and say that this wasn't a comedian. This was just some dude who's being a racist on Trump's stage, and Trump was fine with it. Trump also, his team issued a statement saying that, kind of distancing themselves from it, saying that that's not the view of the Trump campaign, which, I don't know. I mean, politics is politics, but grow the fuck up. Like, he's a comedian. You invited him there. He's an offensive comedian. You invited him there. He made a very benignly offensive joke about race, and that we don't agree with that one.
I think that it was pretty spicy for one of those events, and I think that it was a mistake to invite him because all of Tony Hinchcliffe's audience is already voting for Donald Trump. So I just strategically, I don't think that was wise, but still hilarious, and it'll be okay, I'm sure. I think Trump's lead is wide enough, but I don't think that's going to help things. Yeah.
I guess. I mean, you talking about it makes me more in favor of it because I don't like when you're being a bitch, Dave.
Sure. Yeah, we like it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to get I want to be a campaign manager for a big guy in a couple years so that I can run some ads for 1.5 mil.
Yeah.
Screw some people over. So I'm just trying to earn my spot.
All right, so Tony Hinchcliffe did all that, and people were big mad about it. And you would think that this was Tony Hinchcliffe open for Donald Trump, and that was the show. Now there was Hulk Hogan was there and spoke. Dana White was there. Melania was there and spoke. I don't know. That just person after person. Oh, Elon Musk was there and spoke, and Donald Trump. So we had this playing. I was working on some stuff last night in the living room, and my family was working on play stuff, reading through scripts and things, doing nerd shit. But as this was on, I don't even think we turned it on at the beginning. I didn't notice it was happening until like probably an hour or two into it. We turned it on, have it playing live, and Donald Trump is going and going and going. I was like, how is this dude still going? Then finally, Donald Trump stops, and then so, like, I missed the Tony Hinchcliffe intro at the time. I didn't see that live. But Donald Trump talked for a very decent amount of time, because he's an old man and he's feeble and he can't string sentences together and bedtime, gaslighting, blah, blah, blah. He talked forever, as he does. And then a bunch of these other characters came on after him even. I was like, oh, Donald Trump's not finishing out the night? I was wrong. Donald Trump came back on and did it again. He talked for like another, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes, maybe even an hour. I don't know. I wasn't paying that close of attention, but all I know is I kept looking up at the screen and being like, this motherfucker is still talking? How is this possible? I was told that this guy had a bedtime at 8 o'clock. Maybe that was a different guy. I don't know. But did you catch any of this one, Dave, or did you say that you hadn't had a chance yet?
No, I just a couple, like I saw the Hinchcliffe. A couple clips. Saw Dr. Phil there.
Yeah, pretty much the same. Like, I saw it. It was on live, but I've watched some clips. I'm just going to share a couple more. We don't have to go too deep into this because we are at an hour and 40 fucking minutes. All right, so this is nothing, but this is hilarious, and it exists now. Here is Hulk Hogan dancing like Donald Trump on stage, dressed as Hulk Hogan, and I don't know what to do with it.
awesome.
I don't know how to feel anymore. It's cringy and stupid and also fucking hilarious and somehow still cool that Hulk Hogan is doing Donald Trump's dumb dance dressed as the Hulk Hogan still at whatever 80 years old.
This is how we know
strange, beautiful times we live in.
This is how we know, dude, that we've been properly demoralized, that the programming has worked, that this has been going on for so long that we yearn for a Hogan to dance to a silly song, and we yearn for Donald Trump to serve up some hot and fresh fries out the drive-through window. Like, yes, America! You know, that's the funny thing. I'm not going to deny it, though. It feels good. I want to see Hulk Hogan out there dancing.
There's something about
Running Wild.
There's something about seeing this and seeing the Trump fries thing and seeing Elon jump and all of them getting lambasted by the media for having a good time. And it's like, is it cringy? Yes. But also, it's not somebody insisting that the world is ending and their opponent is going to be a racist, fascist, literally Hitler. This is at the Nazi rally that we're told about. This is at the big scary event. Hulk Hogan dancing like dork on stage is part of the future Nazi rally. I don't know. I'm not that worried about it, but that's probably.
I want to tell that 18 to 35 demo that the Civic American Action PAC was trying to seek out, that 30 years ago, the whole country was a Nazi rally. Everybody was on this unity tip, and everybody was flying American flags, and that was it. That was it. Yep. So when they talk to you about not going back, they don't want you to go back to flag waving and enjoying yourself and enjoying your neighbors. That's what they don't want to go back to. So something to keep in mind.
Big super chat. No one at all says, you two are killing it today. I love you, handsome. Wow, Dave, you've got some fans. You've got some fans.
Nazi fags.
All right. Now, Donald Trump, lest you think that we are just these diehard Trump supporters, as I always say, we are. So fuck that. But we will still call him on bullshit when it happens. And here's just another little nugget from Trump.
And as long as the Speaker of the House of Representatives is here, I would like to put forward a bill, because I watched 2 months ago as some very bad people, radical left people, by the way, nothing happened to them, in Washington, D.C., burned our American flags. They were burning flags.
Gasp.
And I would like to suggest that we put in a bill, if you burn the American flag, 1 year in jail.
Is it stupid? Yes, it's stupid. Am I concerned? Not even the slightest little bit. I am not at all concerned that they're going to start locking up people for burning American flags. Am I wrong?
No.
Am I wrong, Dave?
No, dude. He can't even, bro, he can't get rid of the Affordable Care Act.
Right.
He can't do that because it would take so many. What do you think you're going to get? You're going to get people to overturn the First Amendment, retard? Right. Like, it'll get claps, and that's great. Do whatever you have to do to pander to your audience. But
boomers, conservatives love this shit, I'm sure.
And they are stupid, by the way. They are stupid people who would applaud.
Are you just saying boomer conservatives just in general are stupid?
Anybody who would go, yeah, put somebody in a cage for a year for setting fire to my flag.
Right.
You're an idiot. You are a lowbrow, mouth-breathing, knuckle-dragging fucking retard. But you vote too, so I don't blame him for trying to get you on board. But no, he's never going to be able to do that. You know what he can do, though? He can appoint people to like lead the Department of Education. He can fire up to like 75% of lots of these agencies. He can, like maybe move some things to get some, halt CBDCs. But no, you can't stop people from doing that. So I wouldn't worry.
Of all the things to be worried about, especially like if we're comparing apples to oranges here, Kamala Harris, she might allow the American flag to be burnt. And then there's the rest of the stuff. Like, libertarians will focus on the one and only thing. Not that it's the only thing, I'm sure, that he said that I disagree with in the 5 hours at Madison Square Garden, but I've seen a lot of libertarians sharing this around being like, see, this proves that you're pushing an authoritarian. Yeah, well, I don't even know if, I mean, to some extent, it's pandering to his boomer conservative base, but it's also probably because there's a little bit of boomer conservative in Donald Trump, or at least boomer old school Democrat, a little bit of patriotism in Donald Trump. And he's like, I don't like people that don't like this country. And what if we locked him up? I would imagine if this was an actual bill proposal, he would get a lot of pushback from a lot of people who are now in his Unity party, or his Unity, whatever the fuck this is. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of Ron Paul's RFKs, or Rand Paul's RFKs, even Tulsi Gabbard's, I would imagine. I would imagine Vivek Ramaswamy is not going to be like, yes, we should jail people for burning a piece of fabric that has the wrong or the right colors on it. But I guess we'll see. We'll see. But, well, you know, when it's between Kamala Harris's Nazi camps and, you know, train cars that she's bringing out to take all of our guns away and murder us all in our sleep. I mean, if they can do this shit, why can't we? If it's between Kamala Harris genociding all of us tomorrow and Donald Trump saying locking people up for burning the American flag, I will still go with Donald Trump, because I'm pretty sure that's what Kamala Harris is doing. She is bringing all the Nazis into the party, and she is going to round us all up, put us in camps, and just execute us. That's what I heard. At least that's what I heard from a source. A source told me that Kamala Harris is genociding all Americans as soon as she is elected on day one.
Well, they do love their doublespeak, so it's a good possibility.
And we laugh. Anyway, speaking of Nazis, let's talk about AOC, because she's got something to say about Donald Trump's evil, bigoted rally. This was
a hate rally. Mm-hmm. This was not just a presidential rally. This was also not just a campaign rally. I think it's very important for people to understand that these are mini January 6 rallies. These are mini Stop the Steal rallies. These are rallies to prime an electorate into rejecting the results of an election if it doesn't go the way that they want. This was not...
Let's get one from Tim Walz and we'll respond to both of them.
Donald Trump has descended into madness over the last few weeks. And I think some of you don't miss on this. Go do your Google on this. Donald Trump's got this big rally going at Madison Square Garden. There's a direct parallel to a big rally.
Boo! Madison Square Garden, everybody's favorite venue. Boo!
That happened in the mid-1930s at Madison Square Garden. And don't think that he doesn't know for 1 second exactly what they're doing there. Donald Trump has
Don't think for 1 second Donald Trump doesn't know exactly what they're doing by going to everyone's favorite venue and holding a political campaign rally and bringing Hulk Hogan out to dance like a dork. Do not be fooled by the dorkery. This is Nazis of the future, or the present, or the past, all in one, I'm sure. But AOC, there was one line in there that I want to mention. Let me see. Oh, the mini January 6 rallies for Kamala Harris, and where do these fucking people get off? Like, how stupid is everybody? Because there has to be people that buy this shit. How stupid is everybody that you can just say this on the internet and somebody's like, oh yeah, I remember the 30s when Hitler did that. Wow, yeah, that takes me back. That's scary.
I don't believe for a second that Tim Walz believes that, and I don't believe that AOC believes that. I believe that they know that's bullshit and they're saying it anyway.
Yeah.
So fuck those people. Fuck those evil people.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the October surprises that we talked about last week, where it's like Donald Trump said so. And you notice that those came out right before this evil Hitler rally. They had these statements that Donald Trump definitely said because somebody said that somebody said it, and then we put it into a meme in text, and so there's your evidence. Donald Trump said that Hitler did some good things, and he wishes that he had some of Hitler's generals or something like that. That we've never heard Donald Trump say those things. One person somewhere did, definitely, but a week later, now we've got Hitler rallies. And if you go back 4 years to, when Joe Biden just got into office and he did the soul of the nation speech and said that all these people, I mean, he said that all evil right-wing MAGA supporters, the MAGA extremists or something like that, compared everybody to, I don't know, like just this playbook has been going on for quite some time, and they let it die down for a bit just so that they can ramp it back up at the end, do you think it will have any effect, Dave? Because we've been hearing that Trump is literally Hitler for the last literally 12 years. And I feel like they took a break from it just so that they could bring it back for one final push, because what is worse than calling Donald Trump literally Hitler again? How could he possibly survive after he went to Madison Square Garden, where Hitler also drank water?
So I don't think it'll pay off in the big payoff. Like it won't win the election for them. But this is, AOC, Kamala Harris, Tim Walz. These people aren't independent thinkers coming out and just going, here's my thoughts. I felt like that was a Nazi rally. They're
independent thinkers who all think the exact same way.
So I think this will be, he'll be the Nazi that beat the woman of color, and they will campaign on this for the next 4 years as they work to roll out the 2030 agenda with AOC's help and with Kamala Harris's help and Tim Walz and whoever else will help burn down cities to build up their new one. And they'll do what they always do, is fundraise off the fascist Nazi who usurped power and is turning this into everything that you hate. And
yeah.
We'll do this again in 4 more years.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, there's that. I've seen so many people sharing it's the slogan. I voted for Kamala Harris because I understood the assignment because I know what's at stake. I've seen so many people use that exact phrase so many times while calling the MAGA folks a cult. It's like you are, I don't know. Like, it feels like the quiet part out loud. I'm doing this not because I support Kamala Harris. I'm doing this because I understand the assignment and I know what's at stake. Yes, Kamala Harris sucks. We all know that. We've all accepted that. We're not going to say it. But what we are going to say is, I understand the assignment and I know what's at stake. I know what must be done. I know where the Kool-Aid is. I know what's in it. I know what I have to do in order to save the future of humanity, is how they feel. And so they share the same Mockingbird playlist every fucking day. And I am tired, Dave. I'm very tired of it. Like I said at the beginning of this, I am one who enjoys election season, if it isn't obvious. I enjoy it very much. I find it entertaining and exciting. And the rhetoric, though, gets exhausting. Like, if you're going to do stuff like what Donald Trump's doing by putting on fun events and having cool people come speak, great. Oh, I forgot to mention Kamala Harris had Beyonce finally on, and she still didn't sing. Anyway, I'm just exhausted with the same thing over and over again. And people say that Donald Trump is the one who does the same thing over and over again. And to some extent, that's true. But the people who hate Donald Trump have been saying the same thing over and over again for the last 12 years without ever giving the slightest bit of evidence that Donald Trump is a white supremacist, racist, misogynist who wants us all to die. So I'm just tired of hearing that. I'm tired of my Twitter feed being endless amounts of gaslighting, endless amounts of I saw somebody post the other day, no joke. They posted, if Donald Trump wins this thing, we will know, it will be so clear that it was rigged. If Donald Trump wins this thing. If Kamala Harris doesn't win, it will be clear that it was rigged. Donald Trump's a former president of the United States who's doing all this shit that we've been talking about for the past 2 hours. Kamala Harris is doing a couple interviews where she can't answer basic questions. But you are supposed to believe that if Donald Trump wins already now, they're not going to deny the election, of course. They would never do that. That's bad. But what they will tell you is already, if Donald Trump wins, it was rigged.
Sure. And they're planting the seeds for that already on MSNBC going, they want you to know that. I think AOC said it in that last clip, like, they're planting the seeds for, they're going to deny the election when Kamala Harris. Right. They won't accept because they know that's
you know what it is? It's a bunch of tiny little January 6s, Dave. It's a bunch of little insurrections. I mean, it's the same thing. If every single Donald Trump rally is an insurrection, then I would say that every time somebody says, don't believe the results of the election if Donald Trump wins, is kind of the same idea. But to not leave on a down note, I am still glad that we're in this election season, because I'm not sure where it goes, but I feel like we're to a point now where, quite the opposite of what the mainstream media is telling you, I don't want to count our chickens, our orange chickens, before they hatch. But if Donald Trump doesn't win, it was fucking rigged at this point. And I don't want to be like planting the same seeds on the opposite side, but that's genuinely how I feel. And it's based off of evidence. It's based off of looking at Kamala Harris and the nothing that she is, and looking at Donald Trump and the better stuff that he is. Still Donald Trump. But to end on a positive note, the more time goes on, the more I'm hopeful, because as we mentioned a couple weeks ago, it's less and less taboo to support the guy who has all the support of all the most reasonable thinkers in politics right now. Even if he's still Donald Trump. The fact that he has all these people of reason talking to him, like last time he won, and he did some things wrong. He had Fauci, he had John Bolton. He's willing to admit some of his mistakes. But last time when he won, who did he have around him? Like, who did he have where we were like, yeah, that guy will speak some sense to Donald Trump? Was there anybody? I mean, there was Mike Pence, and it seemed like him and Rand Paul got along a little bit there once he was in office, but he gave Rand Paul shit all the way leading into office. Donald Trump didn't seem like he had a whole lot of people around him speaking truth into him. So as time goes on, we see how much worse Kamala Harris is getting. We're seeing how much better Donald Trump's people that he's surrounding him with, how well they're helping him push for more things that are reasonable, like getting rid of the income tax. Or here's J.D. Vance talking about Ron Paul and the Federal Reserve.
BlackRock, is there a way to calm that down where they're purchasing all and they're driving up the cost of real estate? You walk around New York City, there are buildings that are full of empty apartments because it's money laundering from people overseas that are stashing money, and it's raising the cost of living for the entire city.
That's exactly right. And if I'm actually not a Ron Paul guy. One of my dear friends is a big Ron Paul guy, but like I've kind of come around to the Ron Paul argument. I don't fully agree with it, but the criticism of the Federal Reserve that makes the most sense to me is that it gives massive corporations a lower cost of money than the average American, right? So part of the reason BlackRock has been able to buy all these homes is you ask, well, what is BlackRock borrowing at, right? What rate are they borrowing at? Because the average American right now, I think,
cares about that? Who cares about the rest of the answer and how great it is? He said our guy's name, so yeah. Let's see Kamala Harris do that.
Is cool now. At first I was like, oh man, Palantir, and then I was like, oh, and the Fed. Now we're friends.
Yeah, let's see Mike Pence dropping in the Fed quote of any kind. Like I'm not gonna pretend like this makes J.D. Vance a Ron Paul supporter and he's gonna end the Fed, but we've got the potential future vice president talking about the value of Ron Paul's views on the Federal Reserve.
Listen,
when has that happened before now?
And
why am I supposed to hate this, Dave? Why am I supposed to be mad about this too?
You have to not only hate this, but you have to embrace this. This is the time. We need to stop, as Mike Heiss said, we are in a competition with the right in a way that we are not with the left. Leave the left behind. Whether it's in your party, in external politics, these people are the worst. Leave them behind. And instead, while this budding unity movement is happening in real time and is kind of chaotic, it's like the Wild West, you guys get in there and you steer it. Because look who you have. You have Donald Trump at the helm, who is not an ideologue. He's a guy who listens to people. And if you give him the better idea that makes more money or that more people like, or it's more popular, he'll do that one.
If you make people like Donald Trump more, he's going to like you. And I feel like if you believe in your libertarian principles at all that you're grasping at, if you believe that freedom is popular, if you believe that your ideals are popular, if you believe that, I don't know, Dave Smith or anybody would have had any benefit to having a major platform to really push these ideas into the mainstream, well, we've got Donald Trump doing it. Is that enough? I know, no, he's not a libertarian, but he is pushing a lot of our ideals, a lot more than any other Republican ever has, or at least any other. Sorry, Ron Paul. No. More than any other Republican that had any potential of winning president has. Sorry again, Ron Paul. But At least, we've got Donald Trump out there saying, end the Department of Education, free Ross, legalize weed, I think he said, get rid of the income tax, get rid of tax on tips. He's pushing freedom of speech. He's having people like Tony Hinchcliffe on. Tony Hinchcliffe's main points were end all these ridiculous wars and keep speech free. So, like, even the people that he's bringing on who are causing him grief or whatever with their 1 or 2 jokes that were offensive, we still have a very popular comedian, bigger than Dave Smith, on Donald Trump's stage, pushing Dave Smith's ideals, saying, end all these wars and make speech free. I'm going to take it.
And by the way, J.D. Vance the other day, if you want to point at Donald Trump to go, oh man, he's awful on that. The one thing is that he's the strongest Zionist president ever in the history of the United States. But J.D. Vance just maybe on that same podcast, I'm not sure, just was like, hey man, Israel is an ally and we're going to have the same goals lots of the times, but sometimes we're not, like going to war with Iran. He just said that. That's fucking awesome. I'm just saying, we'll take that, bro, and just make sure that they surround their people with guys like Vivek, people that are against the extinctionists like Elon and RFK, and hopefully we can pressure them into peace, even when other people are pressuring them into war.
Yes. And we are down to the wire now. Voting is next week, and lots of voting has already started. If you vote, once again, vote logically. You decide. If you need help being logical, feel free to reach out. Dan@tsidpod.com is my email address. At Dan on Twitter. At TSIDpod on Twitter. Not just at Dan. I don't know who that is, but I'm sure he's a great guy. At TSIDpod on Twitter, thesystemsdown.tv, or wherever the System Sounds are sold. Reach out. If you would like to know, we will help you know. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for, but it should be Trump. I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. Dave, any final thoughts, and where can people find you, man?
You can find me at dissidentmedia.net and also Dissident Media on Twitter, and Dave versus Goliath 1 on Twitter. But if you got any hot news tips, be sure to forward those to us, because maybe we'll publish them, like that cool story out of PA. And be sure to support this show. Send Dan 5 smackers or more, and get on that club, get in the dissident stuff. We're going to do some really cool things coming up here pretty soon. So get on board.
Damn straight. And when you're out there in the throes of life, and it's throwing you curveballs, you don't know what to do with this election stuff, and you're feeling down, the world's dark, and it might be over any day now. It might be over tomorrow. We don't know. But if you're feeling like, everything's stacked against you and there's nothing left to live for, just remember the wise words of Donald Trump.
You got to be able to pume.
Damn straight. Thank you guys all for being here. Thank you for hanging out on this Friday. No, I don't even know what day of the week it is. This shitty Monday morning. Thank you for making it a little less shitty with us, and for hanging out. Tune in whenever we come back, and we'll talk about the next thing that happens, which will inevitably be batshit crazy. So see you next time, and we'll talk about that. Until then, question everything. Stay uncomfortable. We'll talk to you then. See ya.
Welcome to the system, everyone's a victim. Doesn't matter if you're black or white, it hates you all. Here is how the system, violence is a symptom. Fighting for what's right, but somehow everyone is wrong.
This has been a Dissident Media production.